Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a sit down video and talk to you guys about a few things. First off, I want to introduce myself. My name is Alyssa. I'm 19 years old and I have a 3-month-old baby boy. Today I want to talk to you guys about my pregnancy story and how this pandemic has really impacted it, and just my intake on what it was like being pregnant and delivering and having a newborn in the middle of this huge pandemic that everybody has been affected by. Let's start with my pregnancy story. I found out I was pregnant at the beginning of October last year. I was 3 months into a new relationship. It definitely was not planned. I was newly into an apartment of my own. I just moved out of my parents' house. I started seeing Zachary, Aiden's dad, and a couple months after we got together, we found out we were pregnant. And honestly, it was so many mixed emotions. I was happy. I was beyond nervous. Um, we weren't in the absolute perfect spot in our lives to start a family at the time. But I knew I wanted to keep this baby, whether we planned this early or not, and ended up getting into financial troubles a few months into me being pregnant, and I ended up losing my apartment. But we took that situation, and instead of looking at it negatively, we just took a step back and we thought about it. We knew we couldn't change the fact that we were losing the apartment. It was already a sealed deal, and we just started going on a hunt for our new apartment, the one that we'd be bringing Aiden into. And we found this little cute, cozy 1-bedroom apartment that we knew we could get into, and it'd be a fresh start, a chance to get good rental history. And after a year of being there, we knew we'd be able to move into a 2-bedroom. So we talked about it for literally probably a day, not even, and we contacted them. We decided that we were going to take it, so we ended up. Basically, it's been going okay, but I mean, there is struggles. This pandemic has caused the whole pregnancy to not be anything I expected. Although it was a very happy time, at the same time, it was very scary. It was very depressing because everything a first mom gets, a baby shower, the baby moon that I've heard so much about, like everything was canceled. And honestly, it broke my heart for the longest time, and I didn't exactly know how to cope with it. But I relied on the strength of my mom and my family and Zachary to help me get through the time, because it was nothing I imagined, it was nothing I expected, and it was very hard. I went in and out of depression a lot, and one of the biggest things that I could say I wish wasn't the way it was when I was pregnant was when I went in for delivery, my mom wasn't able to be there. And from a little girl, I always imagined my mom was going to be there. But instead, she was helping me get ready by staying on the phone with me, as much as she could in between doctors coming in and out, and she was there as much as she could be, and I am beyond thankful for that, even though I do wish things went differently. It's honestly an experience I'll never forget, because coming to being like 7 months pregnant, things started getting a little bit difficult. I have hypoglycemia, and that was starting to act up really bad. And for people who don't know what that is, it's where my blood sugar decreases very fast. And it is fixed by either glucose tablets or eating something with sugar in it, and then right after you need to balance it with protein. But the thing is, being this far into my pregnancy, even if I ate the sugar and I ate the protein after, it wasn't working. So we ended up having to go to the emergency room, and they did an x-ray on my heart. They did an x-ray on the stomach to make sure Aiden was okay. They spent 13 hours straight making sure everything was okay, that these spells weren't affecting him. And they ended up telling me I couldn't go back to work whether I wanted to or not. And so that was at the beginning of May. And then all the things from like doctor's visits, ultrasounds, Zachary couldn't be there, and I was facing everything on my own as a new to be mom. And it was a struggle. I remember when I thought I was going into labor, and my mom literally just sat in the parking lot the whole time, and she just waited outside the hospital to find out if this was happening, if it was false labor or like what was going on. And we just spent hours and hours in there, but they found out Aiden was still breached. For those who don't know what breached is, it's where your baby has not turned into the correct position and he was still head up. So we ended up scheduling a turning for him, and that was at like the beginning of June. I want to say it was June 1st. He was supposed to be turned. So I go there, and Zachary's with me. My mom couldn't be there with me, so she was on the phone. But they tried turning him 5 times, and Aiden just could not turn. So at that point, I have some anxiety because he can't turn, and I know if he can't turn by my due date, that he would have to come by C-section. And I did not want that. I wanted a natural delivery. I wanted to feel him on my chest as soon as he came to this world. But he couldn't. So then we scheduled the C-section for the 12th, the day he was born. And I always wanted a natural delivery. The thought of a C-section scared me beyond anything. And just knowing that my mom couldn't be there, it just really, really hurt. And I had her on the phone, but it wasn't the same thing. And it wasn't that I was scared of being a mom, because I wasn't. I was beyond ready for Aiden to come into this world. But I was fearful that there's so many things that could go wrong during a C-section, that besides Zachary, my mom was the one person I always imagined would be there, whether it was a natural birth or a C-section. And she couldn't. And I don't think I was okay with it until the day of the C-section, because I wanted one thing to go correctly. I wanted this pandemic to be done and over with, that I just couldn't accept the fact that my mom couldn't be there with me. And so the day Aiden was born, my mom drove with us to the hospital, and she gave me a hug. She told me everything was going to be okay. And she told me that she'd be here when I got out if I wanted her to be. She told me that like I was strong, and I knew my mom was right. But going in to have your first baby, although it is beyond exciting, it is also so scary. And so even walking up to our room, like, I just wished things were different. And I just remember I like reminded myself everything my mom said about how it was going to be okay, that I was going to be okay, that Aiden was going to come out healthy, and she was right. Aiden was born at 11:15 in the morning. Beautiful, healthy baby boy, weighing 6 pounds, 15 ounces. And honestly, the whole C-section experience, although I was scared before going into it, once I got into the room, I was totally calm and collected, and I ended up having to have a spinal done twice, because the first time they couldn't get it into a good spot to inject the stuff into the area, so they had to redo it. And I just remember going, can Zachary come in yet? Can Zachary come in yet? And I just kept reminding them, because I did not want them to forget to get Zachary out of our room that we'd be staying in for the next couple days. And I just kept asking. I probably asked them like 10 times in a matter of like 10 minutes. Are you going to get Zachary? Where's Zachary? Can you get Zachary? And they eventually got Zachary. The whole procedure lasted an hour. I went in for, I was walking to the delivery room at 10:15, and he met me there at like 10:30, I want to say. And the whole procedure just went by so quick. And the only thing that scared me during the whole thing was the doctors told me that the numbing medicine was only gonna go up to right below my boobs, and it ended up going to like my ears. And that scared me so bad, because I couldn't feel myself breathing. Like, I didn't know what was going on. And once Zachary came in, the whole fear of like not being able to feel myself breathe went away. And I just instantly went back to being calm. I didn't really even feel them doing anything. Like, I couldn't feel them pulling, I couldn't feel them doing anything. Like, it was just so easy. But the night and like day after were so hard. Everybody told me that a C-section was hard for the surgery. Nobody told me how much pain you're in after it. And like, I knew that there was going to be pain, but I didn't know about the contractions that came after. I didn't know about just literally everything, like from mid stomach to like your waist hurting. I didn't know that there was going to be so much extra pain that I never even thought about. And I remember clear as day, the night of having Aiden, Zachary was so tired. And I was so persistent about getting out of bed and going for that first pee and just doing all that I forced myself to get out of bed. Literally like 10 hours, 12 hours after having Aiden, if that. It probably was actually closer to like 8 hours after having him. And it was excruciating pain. It was pain I've never felt in my whole life. And just being able to pick Aiden up out of the little bassinet thing they have for them at the hospital was the best feeling I have ever had. And in that moment, beyond any other moment, I knew that with this whole pandemic going on, with anything that was happening, it was going to be okay. And it was because of that little boy I had in my arms. I know that even when it's hard, even when it gets scary, Aiden is always going to make me feel better. He is always going to bring a smile to my face. And I fell in love with him the moment I saw him. And I honestly didn't know you could fall in love with somebody so fast until I saw Aiden. But there was so much I wanted to talk about in this video, and I honestly don't know if I hit everything I want to talk about. So Aiden's 3 months old now, and he is thriving beyond anything. He is so alert. He's sleeping through the night, like 8 to 12 hours at night. Like, he is just doing so good. So I'd love to answer any questions or comments you guys have. So please comment down below and blow up my comments. Just ask me anything you want to know. Whether it's from like, how did you get through this pandemic being pregnant? Like, what was the C-section like? Can you go more in depth? Like, anything you guys want to know, from the tiniest thing to the biggest thing you can think of. I'd love to answer it, and as I'll probably do a Q&A next week answering any questions you guys have, because I'd love to go more in depth and answer all those. So please don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications, because I will be trying to upload every Sunday. I know this video will not be posted on a Sunday, but I want to get it out to you guys. But thank you for watching and listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed.